Sup everyone, DarkScreep217 here. With me are three special guests, Big Al,
What's up?
Artiskan,
For that is why you have summoned me.
and a newbie, who's never been in my videos before, but he's a really good friend of mine, Windsor321.
Yo, yo.
And originally I wanted to do some sort of special Q&A where somebody would ask me a question and then I would just give out a very long answer. I didn't want to do the Q&As where it's like a bunch of questions with really quick to the point answers. And I couldn't find a question that was good enough for that kind of video, but maybe along the way I will go back to this to the previous video and look at the questions and see what I can work with. But people point out to me that when I announced the new Sailor Moon anime coming out, that I really didn't express my thoughts about the new Sailor Moon anime, nor anything else for that matter. I just said, yeah, new Sailor Moon anime's coming out, so,
And you were like, yeah?
yeah, oh, by the way, you're being very quiet right now.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about it.
Okay.
Mic issues.
Yeah, you just gotta be very, very close to the mic. But now is a good time to talk about the reboot anime. In fact, let's talk about Sailor Moon in general and the franchise in general. Since we're all a bunch of old anime fans in our mid-20s, we all grew up with this series in some bizarre fashion. But my thoughts on the Sailor Moon anime: if it is going to be a reboot that follows more closely to the manga, I'm all for it because there's a bunch of rebooted anime that did that, like Hellsing and Fullmetal Alchemist, and they turn out to be good.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard the Berserk reboot is a little disappointing because I hear they use a lot of CGI. I might be thinking of the wrong
Might do
series
a
though.
lot of, yeah, but I don't know how much CGI, but so did Evangelion. They use CGI on the fucking Ava units at times.
Yeah, but that made a lot of sense for the Evangelion. I guess it's just how you use it.
I personally don't care about the CGI as long as it's well blended into the animation.
Yeah. I think that it is time for this anime to get a reboot because I never really was a big fan of it, but I do think, because not to say that reboots are a bad thing, because this wasn't a bad show. A lot of people the common misconception of Sailor Moon is like, oh, well, it's just like Power Rangers. Oh, it's just like a female version of Knights of the Zodiac. No. It, to me, it really, they go in there whenever Uranus and Neptune get introduced, and I think that's when it kind of picks up. And even before then, it wasn't a bad show in my opinion. A reboot would be nice,
Yeah.
especially around this time. What else is on?
I know. I was saying to myself, I wouldn't mind a reboot of some of these old school anime because some of the new anime I watch is
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, is anybody waiting for the next episode or season of Naruto or Bleach where they make the dumbest antagonist ever?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, Sasuke. This just in. You heard it first, folks. Sasuke is gonna cut himself, and from that blood, a clone will. Because he's that emo. He's so emo, he will make his blood.
musical
Wait.
score by Linkin Park. Anywho,
I'm breaking. Okay.
there's I tried for some reason I stopped watching Bodacious Space Pirates after 3 episodes. I don't know why I didn't go back to it. Maybe it's because of the high school thing is still getting on my fucking nerves.
Yeah,
I,
there's been a lot of false soap operas coming out that this is gonna be a space opera, and then it's not.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll improve later on, but for some reason I just don't have the drive to continue watching. I'm just losing that drive.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's
it is pretty bad.
it's pretty disappointing, really.
But I have to wonder if it's a problem with us just watching too much anime, or if it's just modern anime again. Because I watched the entire series of Berserk in one day and loved every second of it, but it was original and great. So it
I don't
really
know.
held
I
my
don't want to
interest.
say we're getting old because we're in our mid fucking 20s.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be acting like cynical 50, 60-year-olds. But we're acting like them for some reason, and I hate it. I hate that side of me. I hate that. Back in my day, we actually had shows with characters. None of this Moe blab shit you young otakus get into. I hate turning into, one of those, and most people probably think we're one of those people, but the thing is, the new anime, it just doesn't pull me in. Like, Madoka pulled me in because it was pretty freaking dark, and I usually don't like darker shows. There's not one anime this year that's managed to hook me in. In fact, a live-action parody of Super Sentai managed to hold my interest more.
Super Sentai has been awesome.
Yeah. I just don't know. But anyway, back to Sailor Moon, and I have a very important question. Multifire, why are you here?
I don't know. I don't have any other place to be.
You don't even like the series. You rip on the series in front of me most of the times in our little chats.
I don't even know I'm on YouTube. I don't post anymore. I'm just here.
Comic book reviews to do.
I do. I have comic book reviews. I should review Berserk too, since I've seen it.
Yeah, you should do that too, because Berserk's a classic. Some people forget about it. Hell, I haven't seen all of Berserk yet.
Oh, it's amazing.
I've seen the first episode and all of the outtakes. The outtakes are hilarious.
Yeah, the outtakes are awesome. They're hilarious.
But seriously, you never liked Sailor Moon, and when I told you about the reboot series, I said this is something I love, but you're gonna hate. And all of a sudden, you read it, and then you actually got a little excited. Why is that?
I'm hoping for a resurgence of 90s style anime. Is why I got excited. As much as I didn't enjoy Sailor Moon was one of those things that captured people and created anime fans in the first place. So it's good to see it return.
I guess so. It's suffice to say that I actually am looking forward to the 20th anniversary. I don't know what it is. The reason why I didn't talk about it is because I didn't know what else. There was not much announced about it. I'll post a link in the description. But they said a new series is going to be made, but I don't know if it's a continuation or a reboot. I'm hoping.
What I understand, it's a reboot.
Yeah, I hope it's a reboot, because where the fuck do you continue where Sailor Moon Sailor Stars left off? I saw the final episodes of that series.
Everyone dies.
Actually, everyone dies.
Wow, great, thank you.
Wait, hold on. I guess I have to spoil the ending for everyone who hasn't seen Sailor Moon, but no, they died, but they came back to life.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can't have Neon Genesis in here.
Yeah,
because that would make too much sense, right?
That magical girl is reserved for Madoka magic.
Oh God!
Wow.
Being Madoka's suffering.
Suppressed memories. Yeah, I know.
But yeah,
Neon Genesis of ending sucked.
I am looking forward to it, and I have no shame to say that. Yes, I am a fan of Sailor Moon. Okay.
Sailor Moon. Okay.
So grab your pitchforks. Come.
What? I may have said something stupid about how I feel about bronies, but even then, when you look at the show, there's really no show that's infallible. But what is there to bitch about other than what its original marketability is? There is a such thing known as change, and sometimes it's for the better. At least from that perspective, it's a little irrelevant here, but you get what I'm saying. From where. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, what guy didn't watch Sailor Moon at some point, when they were in school? It was always one of those, hidden things you had to watch because it was an anime about females fighting crime.
I'm glad you said it was hidden, because I am going to tell
Go ahead.
I am going to tell my story about Sailor Moon and how I grew up with it as part of my series.
I got a story too. You go ahead.
Why'd you say "uh-oh, Al"?
Yeah.
Can't wait for this.
And here comes the M. Night Shyamalan-esque twist of this podcast. With a twist. Anyway.
Yeah, the reality situation is I've been dead the whole time, and the recording's just a ghost. It's a pre-recorded ghost.
Hitting you, and Vincent Price is hitting you with a stun gun. We know.
Okay, so Al, your little experience with Sailor Moon.
Well, I haven't seen it in years, but I do remember enjoying it. But I would always catch it before going to school in the morning, But that was more to do with the fact that Earthworm Jim came on right after it.
Oh man, I missed that show.
Man,
I
that's
haven't
old.
even played the HD version of that. It's on my 360, and I bought it when it was new. Well, rather when it was on discount, and I still haven't played it yet. That was about a year ago. Thank you for reminding me.
But anyway, so you caught Sailor Moon after Earthworm Jim,
Yep.
and you said
I mean, I still watch Sailor Moon. Don't get me wrong, but I was more interested in Earthworm Jim at the time.
it was like me with Dragon Ball Z. I was like, yeah, I still watch DBZ, but Tenchi interested the hell out of me more.
And the wing interesting in DBZ.
Okay,
So it's parasitical. Yeah.
my experience with Sailor Moon. Oh boy, here we
Drum
go.
roll.
When I was a little young lad, after I saw Ronin Warriors, and it was a freaking amazing series. It's basically Power Rangers with samurai armor, albeit a little more serious in tone. Sailor Moon popped up. I think it may have been the second anime I've seen. I just said I just saw Ronin Warriors after this. But it was a show I didn't really wanted to watch because, you know, when we were all boys, we cared about our masculinity right there.
Yeah, you don't like it, you got a small dick.
You're a girly girl, you know, and it is a pretty feminine show, and it's obvious, the target audience is obvious, but, you know, I caught it every 6:30 in the morning, and this was during the summertime, actually, so I didn't really have school to go to, but my brother would turn the TV on, and I would be watching it, and I wouldn't argue with him, because I know I would lose the argument anyways, and I just sat and watched it, and then I just watched it. I didn't want to like it, but I decided not to fucking open my mouth to anyone that I've seen this show, even if I did like it. I didn't want to, you know, people were hating on me just for liking Power Rangers at that time, okay? Yeah,
I feel you there.
Yeah, people on the internet still like to attack you just for liking stuff.
Yeah, if you're not brain dead and watch, because you know what's the hottest thing on the streets to do? The hottest thing on the streets nowadays, and this is from a black guy, people. That's kind of I'm black. Let me check. No wait, no, that's my shirt. Yeah, everything is a reality TV show now. So, like at my job, well, not at my job. It's pretty much like choose your poison because none of these shows are really that good. I mean, there's Loiter Squad. I watch it from time to time, and it's interesting, but not enough to keep me, mainly because I don't really watch TV anymore.
Yeah, I just gotta tell you, you are great at going off rails when it comes to topics.
Yeah, I know.
Anywho, back
I blame Adult Swim.
Back to the topic at hand. So I've seen Sailor Moon up until the middle of R, I believe, when Deke still had the license. Deke Entertainment, wonderful company, gave us such great stuff like the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and Captain N, the Gay Master.
Yeah, because everyone fucking remembers those gems.
I actually never seen Captain N, the Game Master when I was a kid. And if I did, I wouldn't fucking remember it.
Would you want to remember, really?
I remember the Super Mario Brothers rap theme song right down to the teeth more than Captain Ed.
Yeah, it's basically a masterpiece compared to Soulja Boy's discography.
Anywho, and then I stopped watching it because I would always wake up later and WB and a bunch of other stuff. But
in the good old days, man,
yeah.
You take it back.
But then when I got cable television, when cable started to get all the extra channels like Comedy Central stuff, Toonami was around, and apparently Toonami, a channel that we needed when we were younger and new anime fans, but we don't need it anymore. So the point of reviving it is pretty fucking stupid, in my honest opinion. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here. Anywho,
you've become me. Okay.
Anywho, apparently, even though Toonami was showing big macho shows like Gundam and Dragon Ball Z, big muscle men punching each other, it's Sailor Moon.
Go ahead.
And if I'm not mistaken, Sailor Moon actually aired I think before Dragon Ball Z, immediately before DBZ.
Yeah, it was a little bit before it actually. I just
Yeah.
got a chance to watch it till. In fact, I didn't even tell my story of how it came in my life. I mean, but go ahead. We'll get to that in a minute.
My story's almost at an end. So I basically watched Sailor Moon in the middle of Super S, which I did not like all that much because I did not like the fact that Sailor Mini Moon was like making every other Sailor Scout write second banana to her now. It ticked me off that she was a Sailor Scout and that she eventually becomes a Sailor Scout in the series anyways. And
So they basically made their whole series' continuity kind of pointless, didn't it?
when the series ended, and then they also aired Sailor Moon S and Super S on Toonami in their movie nights, and after that, I was kind of done with it, and I was basically almost done with Toonami because they stopped airing Tenchi and Outlaw Star and everything else I liked. I basically stopped watching Toonami when DBZ concluded, when they finally finished up the Boo arc.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's my experience with Sailor Moon up to there. It will come back later on, but Jamal, talk about your experience.
Well, the sad thing about it is that I came in late, and what it was is that because in school I rode the bus home, and I rode the late load home. Like there are kids that they get out as soon as 3 o'clock. I usually would have to wait like a whole hour, so I wouldn't get home till like 4. Not a whole hour, about half an hour. But to get there along the route, I wouldn't get home till about 4. Sailor Moon would come on at about 3, so I would always miss it. But I would always be home for Dragon Ball Z. That's why it was such a big part of me, the youth and everything. Now, how I got to see it, yeah, you remember that great old holiday no one cares about, Labor Day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't have school on that day, so I didn't have to go to school that day, and Toonami came on early, and I discovered what it was. And I was like, I rejected it at first. I'm like, what am I watching? And then and around that same time, I don't know if you can hear that. Around the same time,
Around the same time.
Yeah, around the same time, that was when the schedule changed. So then Sailor Moon hourly slot bumped up. So I was able to watch it more. So yeah, that's my story, man.
Alright. Now, Windsor, you said Sailor Moon was half of your life as an anime fan to me earlier.
Okay, so
Here we go. And you always have interesting stories.
So here's the thing. As a kid, I had no set, ranks of what type of show I should watch. I just literally watched anything that was on. And Sailor Moon was one of my morning shows, along with Monster Rancher, and I think besides Monster Rancher and Sailor Moon, this is the only two anime I remember having a morning slot. But pretty much watched it just since it started having that morning block by Deke. And then when it came on Toonami, I just watched it more. Though, like I said, I was one of those people. It's like, well, it's Sailor Moon. It's about like girls fighting Monster of the Weeks. I was also addicted to Power Rangers at the time, so it made sense I watched something that had,
similar traits.
monster fight every episode at least once.
Basically, a plot that resolves
Yes.
in one episode, not 300 fucking thousand.
With Sailor Moon,
later.
It was kind of like Dragon Ball Z in that they had separate arcs, but they do resolve in like less than 50 episodes. Like the first season was 40 episodes long, and it's about roughly the same for every other season, give or take a few fillers. And
but they didn't have much filler. That's the good thing.
No, in fact, the anime and manga are like worlds apart. Even though but I'll get to that later.
Okay.
But the anime, it had the first season was the Dark Kingdom, Queen Beryl. Second season was Dark Moon Family. Third season was Death Busters. Fourth season was the Death Moon Circus, and the fifth season was Sailor Stars. It's sad that I know all this.
No, it ain't. It's sad that you're the only one that knows this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a pot shot. I mean, like, there are people that if you try and talk to them about this, they're gonna look at you like a deer in the headlights. Like, what is he talking about? You know what I'm saying?
I probably talk to a few female anime fans that might do the same to me.
Yeah, because
Scooping
they
them on a show that's targeted for their genre. I'm sorry, it's not like your precious fucking lame ass pseudo ninjas.
wow.
Oh, that's such a douchey thing to say. I would never say that publicly, but man.
Yeah, we kids that claim to be ninjas and aren't, and for every fucking story arc they solve nothing. Yeah, they've solved nothing from the time the show started. Like seriously, what have they achieved? He's still not a. Okay, we're getting off topic.
Alright, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Well,
I say we all can't be ninjas like Tuxedo Mask and get all the women.
He's a ninja now. Well, more than
I
that.
mean,
orange
he
suit master.
he actually dressed in black.
he dresses in
Yeah.
black. He's very
He's in black. He's mysterious. Shows up whenever
And-
the fuck he wants to. Really.
discreet.
And if he has the ability to toss a rose with enough strength to make it pierce the ground
Yeah, like
in
a ninja star.
concrete,
Yeah.
he's a ninja.
Sounds like a ninja to me, or at least a very good assassin. I know
So,
an
yeah,
orthodox one.
that just blew my mind.
That's our protagonist, people.
Well, anywho, my interest in Sailor Moon came back up again, even though they haven't aired the Sailor Stars arc, because I think Toei just didn't give, what was the name of that company that had the license now, Cloverway or something?
Wasn't it like Junion and ADV that held the rights to?
They held
well,
the DVD licensing rights, I
Yeah.
think, but they didn't hold the broadcasting, or they didn't, yeah, they probably did hold the licensing rights, but I was thinking of the dubbing company. But
There was just so much hot potatoing around with that series, though.
yeah, I know. Now when the Sailor Stars arc didn't happen because there was a rumor saying that I think it was because Toei didn't want them to broadcast it or something. A lot of people might think it's because of that thing about the Sailor Stars, them being transsexuals. Even though
Wait, could you repeat that last part, please?
Well, don't forget about how we've already had to deal with kissing cousins.
Cousins. Oh yeah.
we're,
The greatest fucking apropos. Yeah, because
Anywho.
incest is better than actual. All right, go ahead.
Anywho, the Sailor Star arc, the three Sailor Stars, I think one of them's like Healer, or I don't know. They had some really generic sounding names too. It was like Starlight Healer, Starlight something, and Starlight the other thing. You know, let me just pull up.
So it's essentially black mage, white mage, and
Yeah, Black Mage, White
Yeah,
Mage,
there you
Red
go.
Mage. Anywho, when they're on
Green
Earth,
Mage.
Two mage, blue mage.
anywho,
Blue mage, yellow mage.
when they,
Is there yellow mage? No.
I hope not. Anywho,
No, the blue mage is the yellow mage. I'm thinking of the enemy skill
okay.
Right.
Anywho, when the Sailor Stars, they go on Earth and they disguise in the manga. They disguise themselves as male pop stars, but in the anime, they like go through a complete sex change as male pop stars, and then when they transform into their sailor personas, they get a complete sex change, which was kind of which a lot of people might have thought that's the reason why I didn't broadcast, but that's not
Yeah.
true because you can easily just get away with them saying that they were females the whole time, because both Deke and Cloverfield, or whatever the fuck that other company is, when they when they localized it, they made a bunch of changes to avoid homosexuality, and just even going as far as giving characters complete sex changes, like Zoisite, the third general of the Dark Kingdom, or Fisheye from the Death Circus. Both of those characters were originally male. They were really girly looking males, but you can tell that they're males because they have no chest. And but because they're both gay, and one of them's and the fact that they cross dress at some occasions, that they just said they're females. They're females. And they easily got away with this because of how feminine they looked. So they could have done the same thing with the Sailor Stars, but again, they just couldn't air the final season, which kind of sucks because I thought it looked like it was an improvement over Super S.
Hmm. I'm still here though.
Alright, so that's all I gotta say. About my that's what I gotta say about me growing up with Sailor Moon and some little bits of censorship. We're probably gonna go back to it, but my resurgence came back when Toonami died. Well, no, it didn't die.
Rest in peace. It's still dead. It's a zombie.
When Toonami when
We
Toonami
won't end, even though we are.
when Toonami started airing Kenshin and SD Gundam and stopped airing all the other stuff I used to like, I actually hated Toonami by then. So I was looking up some old tape recorded episodes of Tenchi Muyo and DBZ that I still have them too. And then I went to buy some DVDs. Around that time, my friend had a Super NES emulator, and he had a Sailor Moon beat 'em up game for the Super NES.
Yes, the NES.
And then, out of curiosity, I went to see if there were any other Super NES Sailor Moon games, and I found out there were like several of them. There were like 3 different puzzle games. One of them you get to pop balloons in, and
Yeah.
and there was a sequel beat 'em up of Sailor Moon R, and they had an RPG, a fully translated into English. Well, not fully translated. They still kept some of the names in some of the attack names in Japanese, but a fully translated, well, a fan translated version of the RPG Sailor Moon Another Story, and I loved the shit out of that game. It and I hate JRPGs, but the reason why I was able to enjoy this game was simply because it had Sailor Moon's name on it, and the gameplay was fun. They brought back some of the old villains from the first 3 seasons, and the Sailor Scouts actually had evil versions of themselves.
Really? I think you told me about this. Keep
yeah.
going.
They were called the Oppositions Senshi in the translation, but I always like to call them the Anti-Scouts, because that's what they were. They were just basically villainous versions of Sailor Moon and the 5 Sailor Inner Scouts.
Weren't those the ones you told me that you have to really prepare for?
Well, the game did have a pretty high difficulty curve, but there was one boss battle that was just frustrating as hell, and my god, I actually encourage people to try this game out just so they could get up to this point.
There's a patch version of it, right? Out, right? In the ROMs, right?
Yeah, well, they probably improved the translation, I think.
I sure hope so, because I'm not looking through kanji, but keep going.
Let's see. Well, anywho, there's a part in the game where Mars, Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury go like in different parts of the world to pick up some crystals that used to belong to the 4 villains of the first season: Jedi, Nephrite, Zoisite, Kunzite. And the first chapter you play is Mercury's, where she like goes into the Arctic or something, and you get to the boss battle with her polar opposite, Nabu, and her defense is fucking obnoxious.
That was the one I was referring to.
Yes.
Like, you're basically doing like 5 or 6, less than 10 damage per hit, and as a result, it takes like 45 minutes almost.
Yeah, but basically the only way you can do the most amount of damage you could do is her freaking bubble spray attack, and it only does 12 damage. Everything else will do less to none, and it would take forever. I've taken like 45 minutes to an hour trying to beat this chick, and I go on GameFAQs to see if there was any strategy, and they said, nope, no, you just have to like grind your way through this one. This one's gonna take you a while. I'm like, oh god damn it. But outside of that, I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was very fun, very entertaining. It reminded me, it had some moments that reminded me of Final Fantasy VI as well as Chrono Trigger, because there was,
yeah, go ahead.
There were some characters you can actually combine. You can like select 2 characters and they can do a combined attack. Like if you select Jupiter and Mars, they can like summon a fire dragon.
Yeah, I remember in Final Fantasy IX they had something like that. Vivi and Steiner, they like because Vivi was the black mage and Steiner was like the knight, and he could like use his spells to put on the attacks he would have. You would have to have both of them in the party at the time.
All
Similar.
right. Anywho, when I was looking up the games, my interest in Sailor Moon came up, and then there was a before Wikipedia. You guys remember a time before Wikipedia?
Oh yeah.
Oh, shit.
Actual research.
You know, back when people made fan-made homepages of anime where the
Back
information...
when YouTube didn't exist.
Back when... Yeah, there was a time when that didn't happen, too.
Yeah.
Well,
We didn't know what flaming and controlling was.
I found a really interesting fan-made Sailor Moon page that gave me a boatload of information. It also introduced me to the original Japanese cuts of Sailor Moon. And what they showed me what was cut out from the original dubs and everything. There were whole episodes removed in this series. Entire episodes.
Was the content that explicit?
One thing I always remember being removed was the umbrella scene where they jump off the roof or some shit. There's a scene in Sailor Moon in the original version where I can't remember who it was, but it involved jumping off a roof and floating safely down with an umbrella, and apparently...
Hello?
Oh, shit. Al, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
You kind of...
His voice cut out.
Yeah, you...
Oh.
Okay, apparently you said there was a scene where one of the Sailor Scouts jumped down with a parasol.
Yeah, and floated safely. Jumped off a roof and floated safely down to the ground with an umbrella or parasol. And they cut that out of the English version because they didn't want kids doing that. But they only cut out the part where they jump off the roof.
Because your audience is that stupid. Anyway.
Yeah, but the funny part is they only cut out the part where they actually jump off the roof because suddenly they have parasols.
Yeah. We haven't. There's no way that does not make sense.
Yeah, there have been some bizarre edit moments. Like there was this one scene where Usagi was feeling depressed, or Serena, depending on what dub you're looking at, and there was like a scene where Sailor Mars just slaps her across the face, and they cut that out. But then she's like holding her cheek while it's still slightly bruised. But anyway,
the samurai slap.
I'm going to post the link to the fan site because apparently it's still up. I'm going to put it in the description below. Here's a link for you guys to look at. And it basically educated me on a bunch of things that made me want to rewatch the series in its original Japanese format, which I did with the first season of the DVD. I really need to rewatch the rest of the series. I just never had the time. Can't find it anymore. They really need to relicense that series. I really think they should.
Yeah.
Who even owns the license right now?
I don't even effing know. It could have expired and no one picked it up for all we know.
What are we talking about again?
Sailor.
Because if you actually look at Sailor Moon, it's kind of ironic who was its owners. You have Jinian, which you know what happened to them, ADV.
ADV at one point, yeah.
Yeah, and the manga Tokyo Pop.
Oh God.
Oh boy, I wonder what they all have in common. Oh dude, does that mean Kodansha's gonna fall soon? Even though they just started?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, same here, man. They have Genshiken and Negima, man. Those are the other two manga series I'm still reading.
Oh, now.
International.
We've only just begun.
But yeah, I would like to see this anime get relicensed by whatever company of animation, and just redo this closer to the original script. Make it completely uncut, and I would totally support the hell out of it.
Yeah, I just have one request: do not let Michael Bay in on this project.
Give them the live-action Sailor Moon.
Yeah, Explosion Moon. Yeah, the fucking moon from Majora's Mask will come down. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing at all. It's Michael Bay. Rated R. Somehow that's rated R.
Yeah. Anywho.
With his racist, sexist jokes. Huh? Everybody knows those. Alright. Well, I hate Michael Bay, by the way.
Apparently, the manga of Sailor Moon is doing very effing well. It's making lots of money. Which, made me... when I found out that they relicensed Sailor Moon, I was excited about it. I wanted to support it, but I didn't think it would do good. I thought Sailor Moon would be dated.
Translation: I caught a boner
Oh,
and had to walk away from abstain myself from the room. Okay.
screw you, dude.
Hey, fucking Sailor Moon. Why not? Why not? I endorse it. Anyway.
Anywho, but it turns out the manga is selling like hotcakes. God, if I can find that Crunchyroll article right now.
See, what's funny, you say hotcakes, and that's actually something I've used in a sentence. This is why people can't believe I am black. But, and they believe you're black. I don't understand how they work together.
Yeah, I know. That's wonder why.
We've seen video footage of you. We know. I know you're.
But here's a Crunchyroll article saying that Sailor Moon is tagged volume 2 on the top of the Nielsen book scan chart. Hey, I'll link you guys this. But yeah, apparently, you know, there's a market for Sailor Moon again.
But yeah, that's a good thing though. That's good.
Yeah, it is. It is. Don't you all agree?
You remember the commercials they had for the dolls they had, which, in my opinion,
We're laughing.
I know they were laughable because they weren't. To be honest, really, how are you supposed to sell dolls or action figures or whatever of any type of anime in a commercial? Because it's just weird. It almost, if you remember how the commercial looked like, it wasn't as laughable and ridiculous as a typical Barbie doll commercial, but wasn't far off. It was along the lines, if you remember correctly. They had like a lightning strike, and like, did we do that? I thought it was pretty funny.
But yeah, okay. Now we have some questions about the series ourselves. Who's your favorite Sailor Scout? Big Al, we'll start with you.
Probably Sailor V.
Sailor V. Does that count at Sailor Venus as well?
Yeah, Venus.
Yeah.
Venus. I heard she has her own manga too.
Yeah, she does. Before Sailor Moon, there was Sailor V, and she was like she was her own individual heroine at the time. And there's also a re-release of that manga series, or a new release of it.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Codename Sailor V. I'm holding it right now, actually.
That actually sounds interesting.
It is. It introduced me to some very
So when can I kick in your door and steal this from you again?
Oh, you just enforced a terrible stereotype when you just said that, dude.
I'm black. What do you expect? Hey man, I need my grape juice.
Oh,
soda. That's what I said.
Okay.
You probably think yes, of course, because it being soda makes it better.
Anywho, Sailor V, great manga. It enlightened me on a few things. For starters, Sailor V's human persona, Minako, is just as stupid as Usagi. She's not that well bright in the head, and she's a bit of a tomboy. She likes playing video games, for one thing.
Wet dream created. Okay.
Man, you should say some of the most disturbing shit ever. And the
That's voice, man. Have you heard my radio drop lately?
And the fact that Windsor and Al are just completely silent for that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anywho, they also remember the Sailor V arcade game in the first season, guys.
No, I don't actually.
You really don't.
I do not remember that.
And Al is stupid.
What?
Yeah, I've deleted his mind
Hold
from
on.
that last comment.
Okay, maybe he may know a little more. You know, have you've seen the first season, right? Or at least little bits and pieces of it, right?
Please,
You have to keep in
God,
mind.
Tell me
You have
you
to-
have.
You have to keep in mind it's been years.
Okay, well, anyways, in the first season of Sailor Moon, back when Sailor V was like this mysterious superhero that Sailor Moon wanted to be, and she did exist in the same universe. There was a arcade Sailor V video game that was that was at the Game Center, not an actual game, though I heard fans tried to make one before. That was at the arcade center that Usagi liked to hang out at, as well as Mina likes to hang out there too. They actually explain how that video game, arcade game, was created and why it was created. Apparently, Artemis, the white talking cat, apparently he created that arcade game as ways to try to get Minako to train to be a better warrior. And that's why, and later on in the first season of Sailor Moon, when Ami, aka Sailor Mercury, was getting such a high score at the Sailor V game, and she got that little prize, meaning that she was Sailor Mercury. Is it sad that I know this shit now?
Once again, it's sad that you're the only one that knows that. And once again, not a pot shot. The fact that, like, why don't other people know this? And I think it's because of the sexist barrier, and we'll get into that later.
Alright. Artiskan, what was your favorite Sailor Scout?
Favorite Sailor Scout? I'll go last, man. I'll go last.
Okay. Windsor?
Let's see. My favorite one had to be Mercury, because she, at the original time, was the only one with short hair.
Oh, you have a short hair fetish.
All right, then, since you want to go last, Artist, I guess I'll say what mine is. Sailor Jupiter. Her element, I think it was originally supposed to be wood or something, but she has a thunder. She's also a thunder element.
Yeah.
Her color was green. That's my favorite color. And she looked like the only one who was capable of handling herself in a fist fight. She even beats up a couple of punks for harassing Usagi/Serena at one point.
Wasn't she the hot-headed one, like the one that with a short temper?
No,
almost.
That was Ray, Sailor Mars. Jupiter was actually more.
Oh yeah, you're right.
She was
matching.
She was the tall, tough-looking girl.
Okay, sorry.
God damn, dude.
But yeah, okay.
The tomboyish one, correct?
Well, yeah.
Mine?
She was very feminine, actually.
My favorite one is going to surprise you.
Okay.
Sailor Pluto.
That's...
The reason why is because, to be honest, I don't know anything about the elements or anything that she just was mysterious, and you don't see her often. Which to me, is what made her more alluring and intriguing as a character. Plus, she had a staff. You have a staff, fucking yes. And it was a cool design too. And she was always the one that would appear to give them advice and seemed higher above them in terms of understanding. You know, like the sage of the Sailor Scouts. She would rarely make an appearance, and when she did, it was very important. That's why I liked Pluto. She, that supporting enigmatic character.
You know what? Now that you just brought that up,
I wonder if she's even going to be in the remake.
That's what I
sure hope so.
Since
I'm gonna
Pluto,
be pissed if you don't.
Since Pluto isn't an effing planet anymore, according to a bunch of scientists, old Sailor Pluto still fucking exists. Because, it would be obnoxious.
That's actually an interesting thing to bring up, because I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I know. That is a...
Still a planet to me. I love you, Pluto.
Rest in peace.
Word
Hey,
life.
Final Fantasy VII's game over music.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I didn't even really think about that, man. I mean, yeah, according to scientists, they say that, but scientists say all kinds of fucking things. It wasn't until recently they found out that, according to your parts of your brain, that most of your injuries that you occur from your physical injuries are emotionally involved. How you feel, like if you got your shoulder hurt, you really feel like an emotional investment in that shoulder. Yeah, it's because you thought that it hurts as much as it does. So the guy, that meathead that was telling you, like, stop being a pussy, walk it off whenever you get hurt, you know what? He wasn't as dumb as you thought. He was actually right the entire time. Who fucking knew? And yeah, they're the first ones to come up with ridiculous things like that. I'm not saying it's not true, but come on, Pluto. That was actually for a while my favorite planet.
Well, it exists.
Well,
That's the thing. It exists. Seriously, like our version of a planet. Like we can't call the moon a planet because it's tiny. But can you actually, you
Not
know,
just that,
like...
it orbits. It's a satellite. They refer to it as a satellite because it orbits differently.
Well, technically everything orbits the sun.
Alright, anywho, any least favorite character of the series? Big Al, will start with you again. It could be anybody.
Oh, shoot. Probably. Oh God. It's been so long. Probably Chibiusa.
Well, guess what?
Who's he again?
It's Usagi / Serena's
The cat.
daughter. No, that's Luna.
No. The cat kicks ass. What the hell are you talking about?
The cat-
There were
so you-
two of them. There were two of them. There was
Luna's
one,
the
there was a
shit.
black one,
Don't
there was a
talk
white
shit
one.
about Luna.
Yeah, don't talk shit about cats anymore in front of this guy. Apparently, man, he'll fuck you up.
I like cats. I don't really care for dogs. I like cats.
All right, but anyway, no. Chibiusa is Usagi's daughter from the future with the pink hair. She's Sailor Chibi Moon.
Oh, Mini Moon.
Yes, her. You know what? That's my least favorite character too.
Least favorite as well.
Yeah, same. We could all agree
that
that
she did not
she
seem
sucks.
Wow, we just made this portion of the video smaller. Why don't we explain why she sucks?
unnecessary.
She wets the bed.
She's unnecessary. That's in my opinion. Most people were like, "Oh well, no, she's the daughter of the main protagonist." Yeah, but Gohan was too, and he didn't have.
Wait a minute. You're implying that Gohan's a girl.
I'm talking about in the sense. You get what I'm talking about, like offspring.
You're saying
Gohan
Gohan's
had enough.
badass and Sailor Chibi Moon isn't.
That's not really what I'm saying. Gohan got his screen time, is what I'm saying. Because don't she have her own spin-off series
No,
or manga?
She was in Sailor RS and Super S, but I think she, fucked off home in Sailor Stars. I think.
She discovered boys. Anyway.
Anywho, yeah, she left. I just didn't like her, especially in Super S when she freaking the other Sailor Scouts weren't around to fight the Monster Week. It's just her and Sailor Moon. I'm like, ugh.
Fucking boring. Yeah, that's what I thought too when I saw it. I'm like,
I think her...
This has to be good.
All right. Anyway, Windsor's trying to talk.
I have to say, probably her only real appearance was mostly to pander to Japanese crowd. Look, it's a tiny chibi version.
Oh.
It is true. No, it's true because some of the character designs from various animes and video games is tribute to certain fetishes. I mean, look at KOF. You got a bunch of short-haired characters, and some of them are questionable whether or not they should be fighting, like Athena and Yuri, for example. And in this, she does unfortunately fall into the category of lolicon. Now, do I get off to it? No, but I know some people that would. No names.
I mean, if you really look at it, Sailor Moon always had a wide spectrum of types. I mean, before it turned into kissing cousins, that was pandering to the Yuri crowd.
Cousins. I love it. To be honest, I thought they were interesting characters because they were whooping ass by themselves.
They were.
Yeah, they were. And it's just I can't get over that fucking edit. I could understand them trying to edit out the deaths in the first season and all that crap, but okay. So you have two characters. They're lesbians. And since homosexuality is just something that apparently TV censors don't want to introduce to children, we have to edit this around. Let's make them cousins. Brilliant.
Yeah, because there's no way that won't fail, and it's fucking ass.
Oh.
But the fact that they openly announce that they're in a relationship. Because it says homosexuality is better than blatant sexuality.
All right.
Right?
Another question. Well, actually, I don't think any of you guys, except for me, has read Sailor V. I was going to ask,
I think you may be on your own with that one.
Yeah,
No,
so I was going to ask, would it be better if it was just if it was just strictly Sailor V? The thing is, I actually liked Sailor V a lot, and I just
oh,
wish it
you
was
can
an
do
old-
it. Okay.
an alternate universe what if scenario if Sailor Moon, the other characters didn't exist, but Sailor V was still her own individual hero, because she had a really badass costume. She really did.
I don't remember it. I don't remember how it looked. Do you
Okay,
have
it's
links?
basically very similar to Sailor Moon's, except she's got a longer skirt. She's got red outlines in most of the blue area. Her costume is slightly armored, and she wears like a red mask that really doesn't do a good job covering her face. But people still don't know who the hell she is. I'm just gonna throw it right there.
Uh,
And
why can't anyone?
yeah, it's a pretty badass looking costume. But when she became Sailor Venus, it's the same thing everyone else's costume except it's orange. Yeah, I guess.
Your stock
Can you
uh, Kogal
can
outfit.
you can you at least keep the mask? No. Okay. Okay.
You can't leave anything to the imagination. I mean, really? Come on.
Actually, early in the manga, Sailor Moon used to wear a mask similar to Sailor V's. Actually, in like early chapters.
Yeah, I think she did.
Yeah.
I don't remember how it looked, and I don't want to remember how it looked.
And Sailor V had the same charm as Sailor Moon. It had some really good comic relief. There was actually one chapter. Let's see if I can skim through this big book and find it for you guys. But I think she got trapped in a video game in one episode or one chapter.
Actually, an interesting plot line.
Let's see. Blah blah blah. You guys can talk amongst yourselves.
And that is my phone.
Yeah, we have lives.
Give me a second.
All right. And
My text message. Go ahead.
So, I just discovered something interesting that is into relation with this. Apparently, there was a live action adaptation / animated Western version of Sailor Moon that was directed by Sabin.
Oh God, I know what you're talking about.
It wasn't. Oh God, yeah, it was.
Why
It
did
was.
you bring that
Yeah.
up?
Okay, Al's back by the way, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. See, back when companies got this little war,
They gave a fuck.
It didn't even get the green light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bad it was.
apparently there was like a little dispute between a couple companies that wanted to get the license to Sailor Moon. Deke wanted to get their hands on it, basically take the show, cut down the content to make it more accessible for American audiences, because some shit just wouldn't fly
down.
Yeah, wouldn't
Yep.
go down the same way it would in Japan, and they would also Americanize it, so they would like fucking invert like certain traffic scenes, change everyone's characters' names to American, even though they mentioned Crystal Tokyo at one point, and even though I wasn't that much of a worldly kid, I did take a geography class, or I have taken geography lessons, and I knew that the capital of Japan was Tokyo, so that was kind of, how could you? That's when I started to think.
That, like, seriously.
How could I think? That's when I started to think something was a little suspicious there. It's like, hey, this cartoon isn't American, is it? No.
Why
Anywho,
would that be, sir?
that's what Deke wanted to do. Saban, on the other hand, there was actually
Yeah, like there's some evil corporation.
they
Well, aren't they?
No, you have to say we owe Saban for a lot. This was just one of those mistakes
Yeah,
that
fucking up
companies
everything.
make.
True, they did give us Power Rangers. Anywho, Saban wanted to just make a completely American, like, they just want to make their own individual Sailor Moon series from scratch, where it was Western anime entirely, as well as moments with live action. And this was back, like, in the early 90s, where, paraplegics, we had to cater, they had to be PC with that, because one of the characters was in a wheelchair.
Wow.
And
He wasn't talking.
it was so bad. Yeah, and just like Big Al said, it was so bad. Just no, Deke won by default.
Yeah. Yeah, I love One. It's so bad.
Oh man. Anywho, yeah,
I
apparently.
don't remember that though. Like they really had a paraplegic character.
Yeah, and the American and that's
Just look up Sabin Moon.
Who's the fucking no? You don't do. Oh.
Sabin Moon.
but yeah.
Fucking bend your head in shame if you
Okay.
haven't already.
Okay, I just found it. Page 190. Sailor V gets trapped in the video game with the villain. She's like in a complete chibi form, and her geeky friend has to like play the game with her or something like that in order to make sure she doesn't die. That was
Again.
yeah, that was an interesting scenario, and they even have life bars that look like Street Fighter 2.
Gotta reference some video games.
Yeah, we gotta reference them games. Damn game.
Shitty game.
Okay, besides me, have any of you guys watched the live-action Japanese Sailor Moon series?
No, I
I've
haven't,
watched
but
a little
I haven't actually.
Okay,
I've seen stuff from it.
a bunch of you guys answered it at once. We'll have to go around the circle. Al?
I've never seen it, but I've seen stuff from it, like GIF images and shit.
Thoughts just from that?
It looks okay just from that, you know.
Erskine, anything you know
No,
about this?
I can't really. You said it like I'm holding out on you. No, but I haven't heard anything about that before. But it doesn't surprise me that they would have a live action version of it, because usually good animes, and underlying the word good, get live action animes like Death Note, Dragon Ball Z.
Well, no,
did not have.
You're right. Dragon Ball Z
a
did
movie.
not have one.
It did not have a movie that came out 3 years ago. That was a box office flop. That didn't happen. Oh, no. We were on bath salts that year. Before we knew what bath salts were, anyway.
Yeah, the zombie drug. Windsor, you?
I've seen like clips and scenes, and it's really about what you'd expect from a live adaptation of a product. I guess that's really all I can say about it.
Okay, what would you expect? Crap?
Like, well, by default.
Really, I want to
yes.
hear this.
Like, okay, how would I explain it? I'm trying to think of another example.
Come on, you can do it.
Okay. Give me a moment. I guess what it's saying is, for one, you got to take the concept of Sailor Moon and say, what would I think if I saw someone doing this in the street?
Wow.
Okay. I saw the first episode in its entirety twice, in fact. I did not like it. However, I mentioned that in one of my earlier videos, and a long-time sub of mine posted a comment about it. And I will read it to
Painful
you.
experience.
I will read it to you, and this is what he said, and he was being respectful about it too. NJ973201, he says, Pre-Guardian Sailor Moon, that's the name of the live-action adaptation. The show was actually good to me. I knew before watching it that it would look a bit cheesy and cheap, so I went in expecting it to be as bad as some Power Rangers shows. But the show's story actually got better after a few episodes, and even as a big fan of the anime, and now the manga, I actually prefer this show's ending over the anime's first season. And because of that, I may actually give it a second chance, and then there are sometimes where I think, sometimes when I watch a show, give it a second chance, I may actually like it more. And now that he said that the ending was better than the first season of the anime's ending, I definitely have to see it just to see. Because I remember the first season's ending very well. Everyone died. The end.
Yeah.
It's true though. They all get freaking killed off, and then they die. But then they like their ghost team up, and they kill Queen Beryl in her super form, and then they come back with amnesia.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then they set up for Sailor Moon R, and I remember watching the first episode of Sailor Moon R. Usagi comes back as Sailor Moon, and she's depressed about it. I shit you not.
Our protagonist, people.
Uncle Ben.
Which begs the fucking question: who wrote this? and why?
I don't know. I think
Way.
it might have to. I think it might should have ended at the first season, but then they dragged it on longer because it makes money, and that doesn't
Gotta get
necessarily
that fight money, man.
that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing because I did see little bits and pieces of Sailor Moon S, and I actually really enjoyed that series. Mad scientists and all. So, anyways, let's talk manga.
Its world's different.
It
I
is.
haven't read it, so I'm just listening to y'all at this point.
Like for starters, the art style is completely different.
I don't think it's that.
Better or worse? Or just
It's I want to say it's exaggerated.
I honestly, well, actually, to me, the art styles looks pretty much similar. But to see if I can give you a better idea, just in case you haven't seen what the manga looks like, it's black and white, obviously. But I want to say it's a bit more detailed. Looks like more budget was put.
looks more like what you would see if they decided to make a movie of it.
Kinda, because the anime, while I do like its art style, it looks pretty aged if you try to go back and watch it. But the manga still looks fresh. Looks like it was made recently, even though this is a re-release of an old manga that's almost 20 years old.
Well, what it was is that they intended for it to, a lot of them, they usually do the manga first before they do the anime, and then they cut and paste certain images from the.
And that's just the art style. There's also some minor changes with the plots and of events. For starters, characters get introduced a lot faster in Sailor Moon, and the freaking supporting villains of the Dark Kingdom get killed off faster. Not only do they get killed off faster, they fucking die horrible deaths. Like when Sailor Mars was introduced, let's see if I can pull that page out, but if I'm not mistaken, Sailor Mars just basically torched Jedi. Let's see if I can find it. Spider-Man. Yeah, anywho, after she becomes Sailor Mars, she summons her little birds, does a little attack, evil spirit be exorcised, Jedi's like trapped in some ring or whatever, and then cut to the next panel on page 119. He's like burning pretty well, I would say it's grotesquely, but it's pretty bad. He just got roasted.
Wow.
And Sailor Jupiter did the same thing with Nephrite, but with electricity.
So the results were quite shocking. I know that was the cheesiest fucking pun you could throw in, but I couldn't resist.
We're getting punny up in here.
Anywho, let's see if I can find that page right there. Jupiter does a flower hurricane attack. Jupiter, the planet I guard, bring a storm and
You ready for that flash kick?
bring down your thunder. Jupiter thunderbolt, and then shocks him, and now he's out, and now he's gone. And that was all in the first volume, by the way.
Wow.
That was,
They just getting it in. They don't give a fuck. It's like, this is not going on.
Series,
air.
the mangas aren't that long. It's only like, 13 volumes? But yeah, they're worlds apart, which is a good thing, because to be honest, I don't like it when adaptations are too similar to the manga.
Like, what am I watching for? Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because, hey, it's the same story. Why would I want to see it again? Well, you see, there's colors and voice acting.
Moving, I have an imagination.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Which you'll have to see with the new anime coming out. Makes you think what even style it's going to be in.
Yeah,
I mean, for all we know, it could be Sailor Moon's sisterhood.
Oh, God.
Don't do that.
I don't know. I don't want to have any doubts for the 20th anniversary edition. I don't want to have, because some of the continuation remakes of some of the older anime have been good to me so far. But, God, if they fuck up Sailor Moon.
I really don't think it's hard to mess up a product that is well known,
material basically done for you.
Because you know what the people enjoyed the first run, and it's like, okay, now here, race again and improve your running speed, even though that's don't necessarily mean make it shorter, but You know what I mean?
In other words,
Terrible analogy.
if they like make too many changes and try to make it, because there was some rumor going around. I don't know who said that, who told me this rumor. It was either Lance or it might have been Lance and Kiddo who told me this rumor, but there was some rumor going around that the series might be quote unquote more mature, and a lot of people thought that just meant more. A lot of people thought that meant more ecchi. And I'm like, I don't think that rumor's going to be true. I don't think it's going to be that.
You
What do
can
you think
see
it
all
would
the
be- it would be
panty shots
translated?
in slow motion.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Yeah, because we just don't already have enough imagery, to say the very least. We need to really have that in canon. There's no way it won't last. No. I agree. Make it stick to the original source material. Take some chances, yes, but don't diverge too far from the original format. Sorry.
That's him. Al, your thoughts on the new idea of bringing back Sailor Moon?
Well, I did read into it there. I did read into it a little bit. Not much has been revealed, but what has been revealed is it's going to be a reboot. It's going to be more closely manga centered, and the Japanese voice actors for both Tuxedo Mask and Sailor Moon will be reprising their roles.
Now, hold on. Let's see if I can pull up an article to bring Okay, anyway. I got this. This is a source from Anime News Network. And by the way, like this, Japanator, there's a bunch of, like, any website that tells you anime news are announcing the Sailor Moon reboot like crazy. But anywho, this is the first update. They said, although Kotono Mitsuishi and Toyo Fura, who are the voices of Sailor Moon, Tuxedo Mask respectively, were present at the live event, the event did not specify that they would reprise their roles in a new series. The event also did not specify which song Memorial Clover Z will perform as the theme song of the new anime. Update 2. Kodansha editor Fumio Asano confirmed that the new anime project is not a film project. So it's going to be a TV series, it's not going to be a film series, even though I would like to see Sailor Moon film style because it'll probably look a lot better. It will look gorgeous even with the CG added in there. Update 3. Osano also emphasized that no details have been set for a hypothetical broadcast. However, the staff intends to release the new anime worldwide simultaneously.
That's interesting.
Huh.
Update 4. During the event, Mitsuishi Muse... Oh, by the way, Tono Mitsuishi is also the voice of Excel from Excel Saga.
Oh my god. Sorry.
Oh, well, not the English voice, but,
Damn it.
that would be weird if Jessica Calvello, like, if they
Who
ever...
would she play, though? Like, I could see her playing Jupiter for some
Really?
reason. Yeah, if not Jupiter, then, like, which one is it? That's the one with electric, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jupiter.
I don't know, I could actually picture her voicing Usagi, maybe.
Either way is cool.
During the event, Mitsuishi mused aloud if she will appear in the new anime. In a blog post after the event, she said that she is eager to play a role in it. Update 5, Mitsuishi added her blog that the enemy is not the Dark Kingdom, but she was speaking metaphorically, not literally. She said that the figurative enemy is her own self from the first Sailor Moon anime. She's comparing her audacious performance then to her acting now. Oh, okay. That's just all I got from Anime News Network. Link in the description. Blah. Even though I think I posted that same link before.
I think you did.
Yeah. You know, we never really talked about what Sailor Moon is as a series or what the story is. We just talked about bits and pieces of what we liked and what we don't like. But,
Now, if you start talking, I'm going to be listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really can't explain what Sailor Moon is. It's basically the female equivalent to Power Rangers, and even with Sailor V, I consider that to be like a female equivalent to Kamen Rider. Because they both wear a mask.
AKA Mask Rider.
Don't remind me.
I will.
The first season was all about finding the Moon Princess and what was it, the Silver Millennium Crystal, while facing off the villains, the Dark Kingdom.
They have a lot of interesting names for material items they're searching for.
Yeah, they do. They also had to find like the 7 rainbow crystals, and apparently unleash. They were in individual people, but and then when they're released, when the villains released them, they actually turned them into like legendary beasts that used to be part of the Dark Kingdom or something. And when you see these creatures, and that's when they were at their corniest too, because before that, Sailor Moon just had like monster-looking females for most of the series. But that's when they started getting campier too. So I'm like, okay, so one of the powerful monsters of the Dark Kingdom is some dude with a plastic toy hammer for a right arm who likes to scream ginseng. Okay. Some of them are menacing. Like there was this one where they were trying to find this crystal, and they thought it would belong to this girl who dressed up like Scarlett O'Hara from Gone with the Wind. But when Zoisai found out he made a mistake, he realized that it wasn't her that was the monster. It was her fat, ugly-looking, bluish-green cat that was in love with Luna, by the way. And he turned into this creepy, ferocious. Oh God, there's a problem with the call. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Artiskan looked like he died out. Shit.
He went to go for the phone.
Okay. Well, shit. He told me a text. Anywho, his monster form was actually intimidating. He looked like a big ferocious cloud that looked like he could cut you in half. It's actually the first boss in the SNES beat 'em up game too, and I hated that boss because it was hard to like reach and hit him because he would always like slice you up, and every time you knock him down, he would like do that pounce attack, and it's hard to dodge. Yeah, I don't know much about the second season. I don't know much about the third season except the fact that it introduced Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn. The fourth season I like to forget, and Sailor Stars I need to actually watch. Oh, if we can fill in the space, talk about the Amazing Spider-Man.
It's a good. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it turns out that
So good.
Yeah, it turns out that this movie's going to tear the fan base in two.
I like it more than the Dark Knight trilogy.
Dude, Red Letter Media said they didn't like the film.
They're insane.
Yeah, I know it's kind
He was the perfect Peter Parker. The characters were all really accurate. Gwen Stacy was perfect. She was actually a believable nerd. The plot was really well done. The music was really well done. The direction was very character-based and character-focused. The comedy was great. Just everything was good. There was no plot holes. It was just a lot of fun. No obvious plot holes, anyway.
I actually agree. I really enjoyed the hell out of the movie, and definitely like Dennis Leary as Captain Stacy. I also like the fact that even though it was a reboot of the origin story, while the Raimi films were still fresh in almost everyone's mind, they didn't tread the exact same grounds.
Yeah, it had the same plot points, but they changed them up a little bit to make them fresh and just alluded to the actual origin story from the comic book in some places. There are good changes.
Yeah.
Yeah!
Woohoo.
Speaking of which, I need to start buying the manga again, because, time and shit. But, the manga I totally highly recommend for Sailor Moon fans. I recommend it to you two.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Time to go and spend some money. Yeah.
Spend some money. You know what? I'm gonna see if Right Stuff actually sells fucking Sailor Moon swag. And you know what? I think that's all I have to say about the series. Any closing comments from either of you two?
I have actually an interesting quirk. My birthday, which was not too long ago, is June 30th, and so is Sailor Moon's.
Wow.
So yeah, I share a birthday with both Chibi-Yusa and Serena/Usagi.
Interesting, interesting. That's all you want to end with?
That and if you've never seen the old series, go check it out. It's pretty good. It's actually, I think it's aged quite well, to be honest.
Yeah, I would recommend checking out preferably the Japanese version, unless you want to look at the American version, because it's so bad it's hilarious, because some of the edits...
You want some of my chocolate muffins? Yeah! And they're fucking rice balls, of course.
No way, it gets funnier. It gets funnier. Like, some of the voice acting was just so ridiculous. I remember this one episode where Serena's friend, Molly, also known as Naru, you know who I'm talking about, brunette chick, her mother was kidnapped by a monster. She was, like, selling life-sucking diamonds in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, this actress's genius portrayal of this character is to sound like Edith Bunker from All in the Family. So she was all like, maybe you should talk to Miss Haruna. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, Archie, would you stay for yourself there, Edith? Oh, man, it's ridiculous. But if you want something a little less insane, I totally just... I wish I could say recommend the Japanese version, but you know how I feel about piracy.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I wanted the old series to be relicensed, but I have a gut feeling it will never happen now because of this reboot. They're probably just going to wait it out for that. Because if they try to relicense and redub the old series, it would take them like a year or two to push out just the first season. And by then, the new series will already be broadcasting, and it might take a while. I don't know. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could still do it.
Someone just needs to pick up the license in general.
Yeah. Just apparently Sailor Moon's cursed from what you told me from those previous licensing companies. I really don't want to end this without Artiskan.
Well, let's see. What else we could bring up?
Let's just drag the shit out of this call until he shows up again.
All right.
Well, let's see. I guess we could talk about why Sailor Moon is essentially important with anime in general.
I know. There's this one scene I remember from the Japanese version that'll always be in my mind, and it's just really... it's really fucking funny. They were the whole gang was gonna make curry, and Sailor Venus, she was going to she's like, oh, I want to chop some carrots, so she's like chopping them like really like an idiot, you know, like slamming the knife down. She's like, no, this is fun. And everybody's all freaking out, like, dude, you're gonna cut yourself. And sure as shit, she's like, oh shit, I cut myself. And of course Serena's like, oh shit, you're right, there's a piece of your finger on the cutting board. And everybody starts freaking the fuck out. And then they're like, we gotta get the finger, we gotta put it on ice. Oh wait, it's a piece of carrot. You're fine.
Oh, I gotta see that scene now because that sounded hilarious.
It's fucking funny as hell.
Oh man. Okay, now you want to say you had a topic in mind why it's important.
I was gonna say, essentially, we could look at all the stuff that spawned off of Sailor Moon.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it was the first magical girl anime.
It wasn't the.
Oh no!
I'm pretty sure
Cutie
the first,
Honey preceded it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, Sailor V actually kind of paid homage to Cutie Honey at one point.
And then there's what was it, Magical Witch Megumi-chan or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. But you were saying what the impact of Sailor Moon spawned off of it.
Yeah, I mean,
guys, I had a little power dispute.
Remember, you gotta be closer to the mic. But
yeah, sorry about that.
I heard you. Apparently,
it's all right.
You got my message, right?
Yeah, you accidentally knocked out your computer. We were actually padding it out just for you to come back. We're almost done, but
it actually wasn't that. It was something else entirely. It wasn't what usually would happen. It was something else, and I'll explain that later.
Okay. We'll explain after the video's done. But apparently, Sailor Moon Impact. What spawned after this?
Sailor Moon Impact.
Yeah, Windsor, since it was your idea for the topic, you can start off, and maybe I can bring up stuff afterwards.
Okay, what I was essentially getting at was how Sailor Moon was, especially with its English release, sort of started the whole. I believe I'm going to use this term, but teen girl squad.
Oh God!
Wow, really?
I can't think of a better way to explain it, but I mean, I know it wasn't necessarily the first magical girl show in Japan, but a lot of stuff essentially tried to be the next Sailor Moon.
They did try to top it.
You got examples that tried and probably failed?
Probably failed. More like they did fail.
Let's see, things that tried and probably failed. I'm not even.
Oh,
well,
that's a whole category. He's talking about tried to fail to be Sailor Moon. Sorry. All of my base movies. That's what I was going to get at. If you want to call them.
I know there's a bunch of anime that was created after Sailor Moon that borrowed a lot of elements, especially the especially the idea of having it be a team-based magical girl series like Wedding Peach and Tokyo Mew Mew.
Yeah, I've never really seen Wedding Peach, but Tokyo Mew Mew, on the other hand, I tried to watch. My only downside was when I tried to watch, I ended up watching the dub, and I was like, my ears.
You poor bastard. You poor Did you hear this, Al? He tried to watch Mew Mew Power.
Why?
Because I have a thing for self-torture.
You did what, sir?
No. This guy loves to watch the 4Kids cut of Dragon Ball Z Kai just for laughs.
Oh, wow.
I actually don't watch that anymore. After the Blue Popo thing, I'm like...
Blue Popo?
Yeah.
They edit Mr. Popo from being black to blue, dude. I should...
Yeah, because that makes it better! Yay!
Oh, they're not even done. They.
Oh, I know. The stupidity.
From what I understand, from what I understand, they started removing kanji from uniforms.
Really?
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
There's good news in all this, guys. Apparently, I keep hearing news left and right that 4Kids is going under.
4Kids sold the rights to Yu-Gi-Oh to Toonami, so now they really don't have any
It hasn't
product.
yet?
Exactly.
Seriously?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So
they wanted to keep fucking Zexel, and now they have nothing.
yeah, I really don't think they have anything else to hold themselves up for now.
No,
besides,
they lost it to One Piece, obviously. Any other show they probably licensed nobody gives a crap about or has ran past its prime. I mean, Nickelodeon has the Ninja Turtles now. And by the way, I am looking forward to the new 2012 series.
Yeah, I actually hope that's pretty good too.
Booyakasha.
Did you know that Booyakasha means death to white people?
Does it really?
It does.
That's what I heard.
So,
did a black person tell you that?
No, a white guy did.
hold on,
That's what makes it even
hold on.
weird.
Let me type that into this translator app.
that's what Michelangelo was saying in that fucking promo, dude.
I like how Rob Paulson is a turtle again. This makes me happy.
It's Donatello this time.
I know, but it still makes me happy, and that the entire
Ryan Paul is a turtle. What?
No, Rob Paulson. He's a voice actor. Yakko from Animaniacs.
I didn't say Ron Paul. Jesus.
That's what it sounded like. I'm like, what the hell?
For
Oh,
freedom!
Let me
Well-
put it to you like this. In my household, too much CNN is played. I don't like watching it, but
okay. Okay. Um. So yeah, apparently Booyakasha now means that. Where were we before this? Oh yeah. Yeah. Sailor Moon spawned a bunch of bunch of ideas for the whole quote unquote teen girl squad that Windsor decided to call, and yeah, some anime shows, and Tokyo Mew Mew and Winnie Peach are the only ones I can think of at the moment. I read the Tokyo Mew Mew manga. It was pretty good.
how much did you have?
I heard Alamode sucks balls though.
And then there's Wedding Peach.
Never seen a single episode of that series though.
I heard it sucks balls as well.
It does, really. Who told you that?
Balls.
Because I think Wedding Peach has a pretty big fan base. I've seen a bunch of anime that make references to that series. Interesting. Okay. So that's all I think that's all we have to say. Big Al.
I got nothing else.
All right. You got anything, Artiskan?
I'm looking forward to this, man. Even though I didn't really watch it in the past, I think this is like, a way for me to redeem myself and get in there. Because to be honest, I haven't been watching TV because there's nothing on. But, with me now getting Netflix, maybe I'll have a reason to do that.
Netflix is a miracle. I am going to watch so many episodes of Married with Children now.
Yeah, Married with Fuck, man, all those old movies.
Yeah.
I have a few gripes with Netflix, but not many. But whether this is on here or not, Sailor Moon. I cannot believe I just said that in the sentence. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's probably going to end up on Hulu Plus.
Oh, shit.
Because that's where all the, worldwide releases for anime end up.
Well, I'm perfectly fine with that. It's
Well, no,
free.
no.
I mean, they got ads, but
Hulu Plus is where you have to pay, dude.
Yeah,
Hulu
Plus is
Plus,
where you
I don't
pay,
really.
But you still have advertisements.
But here's the thing about Hulu Plus and Hulu period. It's an HD. Not that it matters, but Netflix. That's one thing Netflix does not have. I mean, you pay less.
Oh no, not really. There are some shows that broadcast in HD.
Well, most of the old movies on Netflix that should be in HD aren't in HD.
Well, there were shows that weren't filmed with HD cameras. Wouldn't make any goddamn sense to watch it in HD.
No, you don't have. No, dude, it's a possible. There's something called digital remastering, and it is possible. I mean, look at Pulp Fiction. That was made long before HD existed.
God dang it, Dale. Anywho, yeah,
Shut up, Dale. Okay.
You're Dale, Big Al's Bill, Windsor's Boomhauer, and I'm Hank.
Okay.
All right. So
Kanye.
Windsor, you got any closing comments?
This is going to be interesting, and I actually wonder if it does get released in America, if this would actually bring a resurgence to it being on TV again and having a fan base.
I hope it gets released uncut in its format now that anime has changed a little to where the only difference is the language and the change of actors. I just hope no licensing company will take this and try to do the same thing Deke did, because that's a pretty effing dated concept. Yeah, people like to see the original Japanese version.
Yeah, I think the fans would demand that, and why not?
Yeah. I also am looking forward to the new 20th anniversary Sailor Moon, but I got the manga series to hold me over until that time. Well, that's all I have to say. Leave a comment if you wish. This is Dark Scream 217 signing out.
This is Big Al, over and out.
This is Artiskan, aka The Fighting Gentleman, on YouTube. I'm kind of a newcomer. Be sure to check out my channel out in the future. Thanks for having.
And
This is Windsor, and thanks for having me.
all right, and we are over.